Hi everybody, today I'm going to teach you how to use TEXT2DRIVE's recall automation. To get started, all you need is a CSV or Excel document from your OEM showing you which customers have recalls on their vehicles. Once you have one of those documents, go ahead and just click here on Import Recall List. Either drag and drop that file directly in here or click in this option to pick it from your computer. Today we're going to be using this list, and as you can see, it's just a normal CSV. We would also accept an Excel file. Click Open. Once you've seen the correct file be selected, go ahead and click Continue. Now on this screen, you're going to teach us what your recall file looks like. Everybody's OEM puts this data differently. For example, this manufacturer splits their VINs into two parts. In this case, you would go through and start assigning columns. Because this manufacturer splits their VIN in half, we'll use VINs part 1 and part 2. If you had a normal 17-character VIN here, you would just select this normal VIN category instead. We'll also want to identify the recall code and a description for that recall. All this information should again be provided by your OEM. These codes will be specific to your manufacturer. So in this case, our recall code column is right here. We'll select that. And then here, this OEM does provide us with a description. That information is optional. So we'll go ahead and select it right here as the description. Now, many OEMs will not provide you the recall number or description within the file itself. If that's the case, we've added this extra option for you right here. Click Apply Recall Code to All VINs, and you can type in whatever recall code that is. Say it's just a general Takata airbag notice. In this case, this OEM has been nice enough to give us that detailed information, so we don't need to do that. Two final settings to check before we move on. You can, if you know for sure these are all safety recalls, you can check that right here, and we will assign that to all notices. You'll see a little bit more about what that'll actually do in just a few moments. If you're not sure if they're all safety recalls, do not mark them as such. It will only cause you legal headaches down the road. Finally, come up here and tell us what row your data starts at. Since we just have one header row, I'm going to say our data starts at row 2. And that's it. Oops, excuse me, because I selected the apply recall code to all VINs, it did undo my recall code. Now that's it. Click on create list. And with a few minutes, TEXT2DRIVE will read this information in and display you approximate customer counts for each campaign. While we're waiting for that to generate, let's go over the basics of how to use this campaign. From here, you can turn on and off the campaign for your dealership. Simply selecting this as off and saving it will halt all messages after that day. Additionally, you can see the template that's being used for your store. If you want to make any changes to this template, you do have to reach out to your TEXT2DRIVE Customer Success Manager. We're doing that just so we make sure that the verbiage being placed in here has at least been checked. Finally, if you remember back, I mentioned something about a safety setting when you're uploading these codes. That's one of these variables. While this specific dealership isn't using it now, you can see down here we have a whole host of different variables. If you use the safety variable and you've selected that to be a safety recall, we will just put the word in there. So very simply, you could do something like this. Now, we will or won't say the word safety based on that specific recall code. This is a much safer way to make your campaign so that you're not telling people with a software update that they have a safety issue.
Cool.
Moving on, you can additionally select the department to route responses to, just like any of our other automation. Likewise, you can select those responses to go to an individual in your store instead. Down here, you'll see different day selectors. Because we do not expect all of your recall messages to be sent in a single day, we do give you the option to pick which days they'll go out. So say we have 3,000 recall customers and we're only sending 50 per day, you're going to want to know what days are available in the future because it's going to take you some time. Last, just pick the time of day you want to send those messages and hit save down at the bottom. By now, those recall codes should have finished loading, so we'll head on back to give it just a moment to fill in your results. And here we are. You can use these toggles to change your sorting. Here we'll care about the highest volume codes. And we can see we have a few hundred customers that notify on these top codes. Now from here, we'll want to actually select which campaigns we want to use. Say in this case, we want to do V44, and how about U53 as well? It'd be as simple as selecting the on toggle for each of these, then either clicking the save button for each campaign or clicking the save button up here to save everything you have selected. Now we see we have those two codes enabled. We give you two different options to figure out how many texts you want to send per day. The easiest one and what most people use is this overall text per day setting. If you set a number here, we will look at however many recall codes you have enabled, and we will proportionately send out that many notifications. So in this case, we've got 237 of this V44, only 139 of the U53. So if we're sending 40 per day, it might do something like 30 texts from V44 and only 100 from U53 to try and make those proportionately match. If you want to get really detailed, we give you that option as well. If you unselect the setting, you can set text per day values for individual recall codes. So here, now that we have that setting unchecked, you can see we have a new value here. So we want to get very detailed, and I want to send out 15 of this one, and I want to send out, for some reason, 23 of that one. Okay, that's just fine. Go ahead and click save, and we'll send out exactly that many per day from each recall code. Now, if you're an FCA customer, FCA, Nissan, or Hyundai, we are able to update this data for you on a monthly basis. Essentially, you'll come in here on approximately the 15th or 16th of each month, and you'll find all this data has been refreshed for you. And additionally, you'll receive an email from your customer success manager that looks a lot like this one here, TEXT2DRIVE recall update. So in this case, they've got quite a bit more volume going on. We can see new codes that have been added to the dealership. We can see codes that are already running. And then finally, we can see any additional codes that aren't new but haven't been run yet. So basically, we give you all the information you need to make smart choices on which code you want to run. Those are the basics of using TEXT2DRIVE recalls. It's really as simple as that. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Norm.